Hey, how are you going to handle this month of preparation? Is this like just another training camp with scrimmages and like you'd be doing in July and August?
Not really. It's very unique. You know, we talked about finding a way to be able to do this whole process better for longer, right? And I think that's the critical part of this whole thing is, you know, we have so many rules that we're able to do right now and not able to do. So there's a lot of legislation of what we have to follow, you know, where we're in, you know, spider pads and helmets, but you can't be in anything more than that. So when you're talking about playing the game of football, we're easing our way back into that. Not only that, with the weight program, strength and conditioning, nutrition plan, doing everything we can to keep every single one of our players safe, creating a synthetic bubble the best we possibly can. It's almost like you have to have a training camp mentality, but you have a 20-hour-a-week rule to do it. So you're running somewhat of training camp and have to find ways to make it feel like training camp with no pads on, plus school when we do that in the afternoon. So it's very unique. It's very different. But we told our players focus on right now. Now's what matters. We've got to find a way to be better today than we were yesterday with the restrictions and the things we're allowed to do on a daily basis. It's very unique, though, but our team has handled it very, very well.
Thank you, Chip. Thank you, Coach. We need to take a quick 15-second break. The audio is just off slightly, so we're just going to restart the camera. So thank you for your patience, Coach. Thank you, everyone, for waiting. Give us about 15 seconds.
Chip did that. See?
My bad.
Ready?
We look like we're back, so Chip, no more questions for you. And we'll go to Andy Greeter.
Hey PJ, I wanted to ask you about your running back room. Obviously, Mo has experiences. Who else behind him, and could you see yourself relying on him more, or still doing by the two and a spare, pair and a spare approach going into this year?
Yeah, it's interesting. You know, we've always had that pair, right? And we've always had the pair. We've always had that spare somehow, some way that we could develop. At the time, it was Rodney and Shannon, and you had Mo to be able to develop and create. And then when one of them went down, you still had your pair, and then you could create and develop another guy. You know, this year we've got Mo, who's really proven. When you kind of look behind that, you got Bryce Williams, who redshirted last year, who's really working really hard. Kenny Burns, our running back coach and assistant head coach, is doing a great job with the backs because he's got a lot of guys that don't have a lot of experience. But you look at a guy like Cam Wiley, I think he's having a really good, if you call it camp, so far, grown in a lot of areas. Haven't seen a lot of pad work from him just yet this year, just like the rest of our football team. And I think that's going to be able to answer the next questions, whether it's, you know, Trayson Potts. I think he's having an exceptional offseason. And he's a guy that you use out of the backfield. You can use him as a receiver, and he's still really, really young and only a redshirt freshman. So when you think about where he's headed and Cam Wiley, they're both the same age. They got a lot of room for improvement. Preston Jellen's coming along. Jason Williamson's coming along. Bryce is there. And then Kai Thomas. You know, Kai Thomas is a guy who arrived, and, you know, a lot of people don't know much about him. But when you watch him play and you see where he was when he first got here to where he is now, he deserves a lot of credit too. So we're going to see how that room goes. Like you said, a little bit by committee, but, you know, Mo's going to be the leader of that room. And Mo has developed not only in the run game, I think better than he was, but the pass game as well. You know, he is the leader. I mean, his energy is infectious. We used a whole clip about him. I mean, he's a guy that he's in pass pro, he's in a play, sets the pass pro, ball's thrown 20 yards down the field, and Mo just takes off, and Mo passes the wide out. 30 yards down the field. That's Mohamid Ibrahim. And that's the leadership that you want of what the culture should look like and what the house should look like all the time. And it's really good to have Mo teaching those young guys of how it should look. I'm really proud of him. He's not only one of the best football players we have, he's also one of the best people.
All right, thank you, Coach. Daniel House, you're up next.
Hey, PJ, thanks for the time. PJ, Boye Mafe's metrics were a talking point recently from a testing perspective. On the football field, how much has he developed his skills over the past year?
Yeah, I think it comes down to his confidence, first of all. You know, when you're really a young player, and we said this even with our culture, you're learning everything for the first time, or you're learning everything for the first and a half time. Well, Boye has stepped into a role where now he's mastered it. He knows it, and it's instinct for him. And when you see that player lock down, whether it's fundamentals, whether it's the system, whether it's the technique, whether it's the culture, he's locked all that down. And now you start to see this massive growth, because it's not just learning all the time, you're mastering. And he's at that stage. He's a joy to be around on the practice field. He's got a high motor. You know, he's got incredibly freaky numbers, you know, when it comes to the combine type stuff. But he's also a really good instinctual football player. And I think that's what makes him really special. High motor, takes coaching really well. He's a positive person on the field all the time, doesn't let the circumstance dictate his behavior, and he leads that D-line. And I think a lot of guys trust him.
Thank you, Daniel. Thank you, Coach. Let's go to Meg Ryan, Star Tribune.
Hi, Meg.
Hi, PJ. How are you?
Doing elite. Thank you.
Good. I have a sort of a two-part question. The first is just your reaction to the schedule, you know, what you think about the matchups that you have, and, you know, starting off against Michigan. And then I also wanted to kind of ask a philosophical question, which is, because this season is different, you know, it's fewer games and it's getting started later and all sorts of reasons why it's different. How do you kind of put it into the context of the rest of the seasons you've had? Like, does it have an asterisk next to it? Is it going to be harder? Is it not a real season? Like, I don't know. I guess I'm just kind of curious how you put it into context, knowing that it is a little bit different than your past.
Well, answer your second question first. Of course, it's a real season. Anytime you play college football, anytime you play on Saturday, anytime you practice, it's real. Right. And when that schedule came out, it's exciting because it's a season and it's real and we're going to play it. Will it be different? You bet. Have any of us been through anything like this before as a coach or as a player? No, but that's what makes it really exciting. So whether it's the schedule being in front of us or whether it's actual just football being in front of us, it's real, it's exciting. And the great thing about it, we're going to need the entire football team. And that's what's fun about it. So we're not only getting the ones and the twos and the threes, but you're getting your ropers, you're getting your really young players who just got here. And they're getting tons of reps. And really, we've never done that past maybe a week into training camp at times. And then you have to start getting your depth chart. Well, the depth chart could be the ones and twos might be out. Who knows who's going to be out and what's going to keep them out, whether that's injury, whether that's COVID, whatever it is. How does that all work, and who's ready to step in and step up? And I think that's really exciting. It's challenging. It's different, but it's very real. And I think that's what makes it really exciting, Meg.
Let's go to Joe Schmidt, KSTP.
Hi, Pete.
Hi, Joe.
When the Big Ten decided to cancel the season originally, there were quite a few coaches who came out publicly and questioned the decision. You decided to stay quiet. Can you talk about why you did, and was that an example to your team?
I don't know if I stayed quiet. I had a press conference. We all talked about it. I told you, I had two press conferences. I told you what I was thinking. I told you what our players were thinking. And the first thing I said was, we want to play. If you go back to that, I said there's not one coach or not one player who doesn't want to play. We all want to play. I think we made that very clear in that press conference. Speaking to the players, right, and speaking to when they got on Zooms with our medical staff through Mark Coyle, and there were so many answers to questions that I don't know. That seemed to be the answer to the question all off season. And when you're talking about parents and you're talking about family members and you're talking about, you know, student athletes, our job is to keep them as safe as we possibly can. I said before too, I'm not a doctor. I don't pretend to be a doctor. I got an 18 on my ACT. I'm an elementary education teacher at heart, and I'm a coach, and I'm not in charge of making those decisions, right? But I am in charge of listening to all my players. Every single one of them said, as I said at that time, that they all wanted to play. However, when they looked at the circumstances and all the unanswered questions at the time with an I don't know, I can't give you that answer, a lot of them said at the particular time, with the information that's given right now, there's no way they couldn't have made that decision according to what our players were talking about. But every single one of them wanted to play. But you could tell that when I sat down and asked them, what do you think about the Big Ten's decision? They said exactly that. They said that we felt it was the right decision for that particular time. And I think that when you look at the Big Ten's decision over a long period of time of where it was, I think everything was about the health and safety of the student athletes. And again, there's people going to have their own opinions on that, but we're coaches, we're players. We all want to play. We all want to coach. That's what we do. That's what's made this whole year so hard, is everybody wants to get back out there and do it. We just want to be able to do it in the safest manner we possibly can with a lot of unknowns out there.
All right, let's go to Dave Campbell, Associated Press.
Hey, PJ.
Hi.
About Rashad Bateman, I guess first, could you just sort of tell us what the latest is with his status? And I mean, second of all, I maybe naively assumed you were joking when you said he'd be the first person tested after the schedule came out, but I'm wondering how whether you thought how much of that was a realistic possibility of him potentially maybe be able to come back.
It's a great question, Dave. I wouldn't have said it if I wasn't serious for that particular moment. He was literally my first call after we found out, when it came out, right? When it was formal and it came out through the Big Ten. First call, and all I did was ask him, if you ever want to come back, we'd love to be able to have you. We're gonna have to be able to do a lot of things to be able to have that happen. We can't guarantee that you can come back. There's going to be a lot of things you're going to have to be able to do because of your certain situation, like other people throughout the entire Big Ten. Whether it was before, whether it was after, whether it was with an agent or not an agent, whether you opted out, whatever it was. There's so many different predicaments that everybody's going through right now. But Rashad initially opted out for all the right reasons. They were for health concerns, period. And that's what he made it very clear on everything he went on. It was for health concerns. There were too many unanswered questions down the road. And like to Joe's question, that there are just too many unknowns for young people to be able to make those decisions. So they made decisions as well as everybody else in the country. But when the season was able to come back and new protocols were put in place and student athletes feel like it's safe to be able to come back, that's when he decided that maybe he would like to be able to do that. Because not just the season's coming back, the season's coming back with what protocols, what guidelines, right? Where's the rapid testing? All of those things. And those questions were answered for probably student athletes all over the country at different schools. And then once they hear those for all the safety reasons, they want to opt back in. So he is practicing right now with us. And, there's going to be a lot of other things we have to do moving forward for him to be cleared. And that's down the road a little bit. But he's doing everything he can to handle today. And that's all we told him to focus on. Just focus on today, continue to get better. And a lot of this is out of your control. But again, we, the right measures are being taken. That's for sure.
Thank you, Coach. Let's go to Matthew Kennedy with the Minnesota Daily.
Hi, Coach. I know you're coming in with a younger defense this year than last year with a lot of leadership going away. I was wondering, you've already talked a lot about Boye and Mafe. Who else on the defense, is filling those holes that Antoine Winfield left, Kamal Martin, Thomas Barber?
Yeah, well, you got 4 draft picks on defense that left that, when you look at look at Tweez right now with Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I mean, he's making plays, forcing fumbles, sacks. He's all over the field. When you lose guys like Carter Coughlin and Chris Williamson, right, and Kamal Martin, those are really, and Sam Renner, and those are hard guys to be able to replace. But I said before, we might be younger, but I think we're deeper. And I think that's critical because sometimes, as I said before, you've got really good players in front of you and you see a potential up to a certain point because the person in front of you is playing all the time. Well, sometimes that player's got to be able to move on for you to be able to really kind of take the top off the jar and for the grasshopper to jump out of the jar and go to places they've never gone before. And I can see that with our defense. Coach Rossi and the staff are doing an amazing job of getting our guys ready to play. It's fun to watch them. You got 1s, you got 2s, you got 3s, which we haven't had here before. But you can see the youth, but the youth is incredibly talented. And talented youth is the best youth. And so we're excited about our defense. We've got a long way to go. We got to continue to get better and focus on now. And that's what we're going to keep doing.
And to piggyback off of that, how much are you preparing yet for Joe Milton and that Michigan offense right now?
Yeah, we are. I mean, yesterday we spent a lot of hours on as coaches game planning, and we're going to spend certain days of the week game planning opponents. We've done that twice actually, from March all the way through August of game planning our opponents. When our coaches were home quarantining, doing it through Zoom and doing it through, the computers and stuff. So it's been exciting. We've had a lot more football time because when you're not on the road recruiting and that's your focus, I mean, we're in the office or we're on Zoom or, from March on, I mean, we've done so much more football than we really have in the past, just by being able to not have even the recruiting that we were doing on the road that was taken away from that. So, we got a long way to go. It's exciting about where this team can go and where we're headed. But again, it's going to be a very challenging and very different year with a lot of obstacles ahead. And it's definitely not if, it's when, because they are all coming. And that's why it's fun to be able to train the entire team, because the last guy on the depth chart could be a starter like that. And so it's really exciting. And I'm proud of our coaches for how we're handling it. We're doing it our way. And we got to find a way to do it just right. Just right.
All right. I apologize. We won't be able to get to every single question. We'll take one more for Coach, and that's from the voice of the Gophers, Mike Grimm.
All right. Hey, thanks.
Hi, Grimmy.
Good to see you. Coach, in Bateman's case, I know he did some working out on his own the last few months. How has he looked? Does he look different? How's he looked in practice? And two, what's it mean if all these hurdles are cleared and he is part of this team come October 25th?
Yeah, I think when you look at a football team, I think that's what makes it the greatest team sport ever, is that it's never just about one player. Last year was not about one player. This year will not be about one player. He's an exceptional talent on the field, off the field. And when you ask where is he at, it's not like he ever lost that. He came back the first day, took some reps, and there was this, you could see that Rashad's back. And it's one of those things that you get really excited about, but you also know that a lot of the decisions to come are out of our hands. All we can continue to do is do the right thing today, prepare him the best we possibly can for his future, and not only here at Minnesota, but in the National Football League. But this was strictly his decision. And I think this goes even back to Dave's question, this was all Rashad. He didn't need much convincing. This wasn't a recruiting job by me. I simply asked him, if you ever want the option to come back, I'd be willing to talk to you, and that's how the conversation went. It wasn't like, you're coming back. You have to come back. I said, Rashad, whatever you decide, I'll support you 100%. Whether you decide to come back, whether you decide not to come back, I support you 100%. If you decide to come back, it is not guaranteed that you're going to come back. You might go through the next 4 or 5 weeks and you might not be allowed to play. Is it worth it to you? And without hesitation, he said, it's worth it. I really want to come back. And he didn't come back for Rashad Bateman. He came back for his teammates too. And I think that's really exciting about him because he made that comment. And when you have a team player like that, Grimmy, that's what you feel on the field. This wasn't like somebody walked on the field and it was like, oh, man, he abandoned us. That's not how this was at all. This was about everybody. When he made that decision, every single person knew why he made that decision. And it was strictly based on the health concerns and his future. And and he made sure our team knew that. And this whole year has been about empathy, putting yourself in someone else's shoes. And this is a non-judgment zone. And we want to make sure that we are incredibly empathetic to not only our players, coach to coach, player to player, player to coach, coach to player. That's what it's going to take for us to be really successful this year, is having empathy for every single person in our organization and what they're going through, and having time to be able to process that and understand that, because these are unprecedented times. This is a pandemic. We've never been through anything like this before. So who's to say somebody's right or wrong, because we haven't been through this before. So I think everybody has to have a very open mind, very understanding heart, and be very empathetic to what's going on around them. And I'm glad our team is, including Rashad. So it's exciting. Look forward to see what happens as we continue to move forward, and we'll just continue to change our best.
All right. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you, everyone.
I want to remind everyone, we're going to take about a 30-second break, and then we'll have Tanner Morgan and Mohamid Ibrahim. So we'll be right back. All right, looks like we have Tanner Morgan at the podium now. Again, send me a message in chat if you have a question for Tanner. And then once he's done, we'll jump to Mo. But again, send me a message in chat and then we'll go right to questions for Tanner. So, Andy Greeter, you're up first.
Tanner, so much of your career has relied on veteran running backs to help you in the huddle and at the line of scrimmage and just as the offense. What have you seen in how Mo has developed and the guys kind of around him in that room?
Yeah, I mean, Mo's a superstar. Every single day, you know what you're going to get with 24. He brings the most howl out of everybody in the building, and he can do remarkable things on the field, but he's also a phenomenal leader, phenomenal connector. He does a great job of leading that room, you know, leading the offense too, and getting those young guys to be locked in like he is. And those guys have definitely improved a lot. Especially under his leadership through the reps they've gotten. And I mean, Mo's just done a great job of being able to take leadership of those guys and, you know, help Coach Burns with that, just getting those young guys to get reps and gain more confidence too.
All right, let's go to Meg Ryan, Star Tribune.
Hi, Tanner. How are you?
I'm doing elite. How are you, Meg?
Doing okay. Not elite today, but I'll get there. I wanted to ask you about what was your reaction, or how did you, I guess, hear about Rashad wanting to come back and potentially play this season? And then what would that mean for you if he's cleared and able to participate in this season?
Yeah, I called him on Sunday just to say what's up, like not to ask him, hey, are you coming back? I didn't even know if that was a possibility. And he told me right away, like, hey, like, I think I'm going to be able to come back. And I thought he was joking at first, to be honest with you. But he told me, and I mean, it's just something that we were really excited about because he wanted to do it, you know, for the team, not for Rashad, for the guys in the locker room, you know, for Minnesota. And yeah, it's really exciting. We really hope that he's able to come back. He's done everything the right way. He's come to work every single day, ready to get better, ready to be locked in and you know, be a good leader. And he's done a lot of really, really elite things since he's come back. And, you know, we're hopeful and definitely excited for him to be able to come back. But it's great to have him back in the locker room, see his face, see him smiling, you know, go around, throw him some balls. Yeah, it's been really fun.
All right, Dave Campbell, Associated Press.
Hey, Tanner, I guess I'm just wondering what sort of your own emotions and the team's sort of emotions have been in these kind of roller coaster couple of months, knowing how you guys as a program, you know, pride yourselves on kind of this one week season thing, but we got to imagine there've been some ups and downs. How is sort of the feeling of the team now that the season's back on again?
Yeah, our team's really excited to be able to play football this fall. You know, we trusted the doctors, the medical professionals to do their jobs and to be able to put us in safe environments. And, you know, with being able to play football, our team's been really excited to be able to, you know, realize, hey, we got 5 weeks or whatever it is now to, you know, get ready for October 24th. And we have to treat each day like it's a game to get ready and get prepared. But our team was very excited. You know, we had a Zoom call with Coach and he was saying like, you know, it's here, boys, we're going to play. And I think our team was really excited, really locked in and, you know, like, hey, we're going to be playing football in 5 weeks when a couple of weeks ago, we didn't know if we were going to play at all. So it's definitely a blessing. And it helps us to be able to understand like, hey, nothing's like given. This is a privilege. What we're able to do, play collegiate football in the Big Ten is a privilege. So we're just very blessed to be able to get the opportunity to compete this fall.
Let's go to Chip Scoggins, Star Tribune.
Hey, Tanner, good to see you.
Good to see you, Chip.
Hey, one of the stipulations with the Big Ten was a positive test for a player is 21 days sidelined. How much conversation with players amongst just personal accountability and how we're seeing, you know, games get postponed all around college football now, just the personal accountability amongst players of doing the right things when you're away from the facility?
Yeah, I mean, it's huge. It's been a big thing for us as players talking about, hey, like, and Coach has driven this too, is like fun. Like, well, what's fun? Winning's fun. You know, executing on offense, on defense is fun. You know, being loved in a culture is fun. Those things are fun. And there's sacrifices we're all going to have to make to be able to, you know, be successful this fall. And We know how severe COVID-19 can be, and 21 days is a long time. If you test positive, that's 3 weeks. So each and every player knows what's at stake, and we know we have to treat each day like, we have to be careful, and our leadership and our players have done a great job of that, of understanding that and understanding we can't put ourselves at risk for exposure and things like that. So, there's a lot of unknowns with it, with the virus and stuff, but we know what we can do to protect ourselves, and that's what we're going to do as a football team.
Let's go to Daniel House.
Hey, Tanner, thanks for the time.
Yeah, of course, Daniel.
What areas did you focus on improving during the extra time that you had due to the virus?
Yeah, man. So one huge thing we did, as quarterbacks, is just going to football school. So learning different defensive fronts, coverages, things like that. Coach Sanford did a great job of leading us in that, and understanding just more football ins and outs, things like that, which was awesome. And then another thing that was huge is footwork and pocket movement and stuff like that. Being able to stay more firm and true in the pocket, having better feet, and just the little minute details, because those go a really long way in the course of a football season. It can be the difference in a touchdown and an incompletion. So those things are something that we definitely focused on, during the extra time, and just the details, man, the little things with our footwork, our run game, all kinds of stuff. We've really been honed in and getting after like the tiniest of things.
All right. Thank you, Tanner. Let's go to Mike Grimm.
Hey, Tanner, good to see you. Question for you on practice. How has it gone so far when, as a quarterback, you have a new offensive coordinator, and it sounds like you're going through kind of a training camp, but not really a training camp. There's classes going on as well. How has that all worked here in this unique time?
Well, yeah, it's obviously been a little bit different than training camp with class and things like that. But man, coach has done a great job of it's been just right for us. It's been absolutely just right with the amount of load, practice, walkthroughs, all kinds of different stuff. Been mentally locked in, and we've been able to take the next right step as an offense. And we've been really locked in on our details every single day, whether it's a walkthrough, whether it's practice, it's live stuff. We're 7-on-7 or moving the ball. But it all comes down to the details and the choice each and every single day of if we want to get better and if we want to really lock in to improve.
All right, thank you. Let's go to Joe Schmidt with KSTP.
Hi, Tanner. I was just wondering what you thought when you saw that schedule. Is that when it really felt real that you'd be playing this fall?
I think it really felt real when it got announced. And we got the teamworks for, hey, Zoom, and we're going to hop on a Zoom call in 15 minutes. There's been a lot of stuff that people have said, whatever. But when we got the Zoom call from G, I think everybody, the teamworks from G, that we were going to have a Zoom call, I think everybody knew, hey, it's here. Football's here. And I think that sense of excitement came. When we got the schedule, it's really exciting. I think the Big Ten did a great job of working that out, and we're really excited. To be honest, I know we have 8+1 games, and week 1 we got Michigan, and that's beyond that. I really don't know too much, to be honest with you, but we just got to focus today and tomorrow of getting better at what we do, because at the end of the day, it's about us. It's not about our opponents or who we play. It's about the University of Minnesota Golden Gophers football team and being our best each and every Saturday. And that starts October 24th, but really each and every day when we're in the facility.
And let's go to Ryan Burns.
Hey, Tanner, glad to hear your dad's still doing well.
Yeah, thank you, Ryan. Appreciate that.
So I want to ask you about your offensive line, because there's still some uncertainty there with Curtis and Daniel. So what have you seen from your offensive line here during camp?
Yeah, our offensive line's been doing an elite job each and every day. They're working really hard in the weight room, getting stronger, getting a lot stronger. Their details have been really good, and the guys have been able to play a lot of different positions. We got Axel Rushmeyer moving around a little bit. He's doing a great job. Really proud of him. Excited for him. Olsen can do it all. He can play tackle, guard, center. We got John Michael, all the guys. Daniel, Curtis. Those guys are doing a great job of being able to stay locked in. We just got a bunch of guys that we feel really confident in that can get the job done. And I could go off the list top to bottom of every single guy in that room. But those guys have been really locked in. Schluter and Blaze done a phenomenal job too. All the guys, I could say each and every name, but they've done a phenomenal job being locked in, getting better each and every day, having great attitudes, and coming in and being able to improve. And there's been a lot of guys that, have played different positions, and that's phenomenal too, just, for reps and things like that.
All right, let's go to AJ with the Minnesota Daily.
Hey, Tanner. I want to circle back to Megan's question regarding the wide receiver room. You have a chance of losing your 1 and 2 punch from last year if Bateman's not able to return. So I was just wondering how Almond, Bell, and Douglas have looked so far in camp.
Yeah, they've both looked really good. Crab's been doing a great job each and every day. He's taken a great leadership role from that room, and man, he can make a lot of plays, and we're really excited. We're really excited for those guys to be able to get opportunities, and man, we're excited about that room. We got a lot of guys that can make plays for us, and we're excited to see what they can do when we get more opportunities as well.
All right, let's go to Megan Ryan.
Hi, Tanner. I have kind of a tougher ethical question for you. So there's no right or wrong answer to this. It's just kind of.
Let's do it.
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm gonna hit you with this one. So, obviously, the reason that the Big Ten came back, one of the big parts of it was having this daily testing available and having the rapid results. And that obviously, get tested every day, get the results quickly. You're safer. You can kind of identify outbreaks before they happen. That's not something that's necessarily available widely to the general public or even the regular student body at the university. And I'm just kind of curious if you have thought at all about that, about, athletes having the access to this. Obviously, you guys are being put at a higher risk, so there's good reason for it, but it is something that you guys have access to that maybe, other people don't. And I'm just kind of curious if you ruminated at all about that or thought anything about it.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely an interesting question. That's for sure. And I think that goes way over my head for, decision-making and things like that. What I know is the University of Minnesota is doing everything that they can for us to be in a safe environment. And I'm blessed that they're doing that. Our team's very excited, and we're really grateful that they're taking that very seriously through our president and AD's leadership. But yeah, I mean, that's a great question. I haven't put a ton of thought into it, to be honest with you. But I definitely will be thinking about it now.
Let's finish with last question. We'll go to Matthew Kennedy with the Minnesota Daily.
Hey, Tanner, thanks for the time. I was just wondering, seeing the schedule and looking at Michigan's defense, what are the first impressions that you guys can exploit going into week 1?
Yeah, I mean, well, we know their defensive coordinator, Don Brown, is, very, very, very intelligent. He's been a lot of places, and he's been really successful. And we're just excited to game plan them, see what they're about, see the different things they can do, the different looks, the players, because we know they're going to be a really good defensive football team. We know they're going to have a lot of guys that can make plays on the defensive side of the ball. And, it's going to be an exciting opportunity to watch film on them. Haven't really turned it on that much yet, so excited for that opportunity when we get there. But yeah, it's going to be really exciting. We're really looking forward to the opportunity, but we really got to focus on tomorrow and getting better at practice tomorrow. That's where it starts for us before we get to October 24th.
All right, thank you, Tanner. We'll have Mohamid Ibrahim up here momentarily, so give us 1 second.
Thank you, guys.
All right, Mohamid Ibrahim is now at the podium. I don't have any questions in the queue yet, but I know Andy Greeter has one. So let's start with Andy. And if you have another question, go ahead and shoot me a note in the chat.
Hey, Mo, I wanted to see how you've been trying to lead without Rodney and Shannon in the room.
I definitely have to step up now. I was always leaning on them. Those two guys, they were two veterans. Now it's on my plate, and I got to understand that what they taught me, I got to pass it down. It's a tradition in that room. It's a standard that we always have to maintain. If it's like any little thing, if it's running to the ball, if it's protecting the ball, if it's anything like that, you have to pass it down to those younger guys and make sure they're all on the same level, because we all know that in this running back room, anybody can play at any given game, so we can't lose a beat.
All right, let's go to Dave Campbell.
Hey, Mo. A lot of people have been looking to this season for you guys as a potentially special one, coming off the momentum from last year. Then everything gets put on hold, and the season's canceled. Now it's back. I'm just wondering, where is the sort of player excitement level, and are you guys kind of right back to normal as if this is September 1st?
Yeah, we was definitely excited when we had the season that was supposed to set up in September, then they moved it back to the spring, and then now. So we just happy that we got a schedule out right now, and we got something to look forward to, but we still have to prepare every day. It starts with today, continue tomorrow, get better tomorrow. So that's our standard. We always have to worry about right now.
Let's go to Daniel House. Daniel House.
Hey, Mo, I know it's early, but how much growth have you noticed from the younger running backs that you're working alongside?
Definitely a huge growth. I remember during the spring ball, we ended on a bad note, and we emphasized that this whole COVID situation during quarantine. We emphasized the ball. And now when you get to this fall camp, you understand, you can see the growth. They're double cuffing it. They're making sure that they're not giving the defense a chance to get the ball. And that goes to Coach Burns. He emphasized it for 3-4 months. And when we finally got to get out there, we definitely showed that we improved.
Let's go to Ryan Burns.
Hey, Mo, I was curious, now that you're going to be the guy in the backfield, how have you been kind of preparing yourself for 20 touches a game? And Sanford in the past has also used his backs more in the passing game, not really something that Shiraki used before. So how have you also been preparing yourself for that?
I definitely watch film on what type of play calls he called, situational ball, what type of plays he liked to go to. And I understood that he liked to give the ball to the running back a lot, and not just handing the ball off. He likes to throw screens. He liked to throw bullet routes and stuff like that. So I've been preparing by catching extra balls, hard balls, if it's like arrow throws and stuff like that. So just emphasizing I have to be able to be an all-around back now, catching the ball, blocking, and running the ball, and that's it.
Meg Ryan, Star Tribune.
Hi, Mo. How are you?
How you doing?
I'm good. It's been, I feel like, forever since I last saw you. Your face. I am actually just curious your reaction to, or how you heard about Rashad. Obviously, he opted out of the season. Now he's hoping to come back and play with you guys again. How did you kind of hear that he was hoping to come back, and what was your reaction to how you think, if he's able to play, what he's going to help you guys with if, he's able to come back and play this season?
When Rashad opted out, he was never really gone. He was always around the team. So I seen him very often. So I think that Sunday I talked to him and he told me that he wanted to come back, and I thought he was joking. I didn't think it was a possibility. I didn't know how it would work out, but he told me everything that he had to go through. So just understanding that he can't come back, that was a big boost to the whole team. And then just him being in the locker room now is just boost up everybody's. We are happy to see him. His smile when he get out there on the field, you can just feel the energy come back. So we'll be happy to have him. I know that he made the decision to opt out, But he did it for health reasons. And now that we got a good health plan out in front of us, that he really wants to come back, and we're happy to have him.
It looks like the last question we'll have is from Matthew Kennedy, Minnesota Daily.
Hi, Mo. Thanks for the time. I was wondering, going into this season with most of your offensive line coming back and pretty experienced guys to give you holes, how comforting is that going into a season that's pretty, unexpected than usual?
It's nice knowing who you got up front. We during this whole quarantine, we actually had running backs in O-line meetings and tight end meetings where we talked about what we're doing and why we're doing it and making sure everybody's on the same page. So now when we get out there, you can just see us moving as one, making the right cuts late, understanding why the O-line is doing what they're doing, why the tight ends are doing what they're doing. So we're all one, still gelling, understanding that people can play guard and tackle and understanding their tendencies and stuff like that. So having a veteran O-line definitely helps us out because now we know exactly what we're getting every play.
Mohamid, I lied to you. We'll take one more question from Ryan Burns. Ryan, go ahead.
Perfect.
Yeah, Mo, I want to ask you about having vision as a running back because it's so important, especially in the zone blocking scheme. So how do you kind of improve upon your vision as you try to find where the holes are going to be? And then how do you bestow that knowledge to some of the younger running backs?
You can teach them you can teach them like key movements, where to kick your eyes to at certain points. When something closes, you have another like plan B. So if this happens, then kick your eyes here because that's where the play is going. And if you can teach them that and you can make their eyes quicker and faster, they can play a lot faster. And that's where the talent takes over. So if you can teach where their eyes are supposed to be, then you can they're going to have success. And that's something that Rodney and Shannon taught me when I was younger.
All right. Thank you, Mo. I want to thank everyone for joining us today. I'll be sure to share this in our digital press box, video and audio. You will receive an email from me later on today. So thank you, Mo. I appreciate it very much. And thanks everyone for joining us.